When it comes to the center, rat holes are hidden everywhere, so we proudly present Top 10 Unknown Rat Holes on ARK.
Our servers OC have partnered with Dino Deluxe to create Deluxe servers. Deluxe servers is just like OC, but with better server handling and an official grind. Deluxe offers 3x harvest, lag-free servers, an in-game shop, no pay to win, 5x breeding, new player protection, 3x experience, and more. And come join Deluxe today and get up to 1 week of new player protection.
And coming at number 10, this can be found at 91.9 latitude and 24.2 longitude. And then here it is on the map. But anyways, this rat hole is in a pretty familiar spot on the map. A lot of you guys should know that this little corner of the redwoods, as it used to be a really popular base spot to actually build in. But ever since the whole rat hole thing kind of happened, nobody really builds out in the open anymore, and everyone's trying to hide, which completely makes sense with all the issues that have been happening with ARK. But anyways, this is the rat hole. It's big enough to put a little cliff platform in, would be a solo in here. I mean, you can hide away pretty well without anybody really seeing you. Just make sure that you do not build anything externally, and you should do pretty much fine in here. There's a lot of room, it goes very deep down. You even have some flat land back here in the corner, right there, and then right under there. So, if you're looking to even maybe just put a 2x2 in here, put some heavies on it, that'll work great for that too. And coming at number 9, this can be found at 66.2 latitude and 14.7 longitude. Then here it is on the map. Now this can be found pretty similar to the last one on the side of the map. I don't really know what you would really call this. I guess just the cliff. But anyways, this thing is completely full of rat holes that still have not been found. There's still so many things out here. Anyways, this rat hole is right in here. It doesn't even look like there's anything here until you're literally on top of it, which is a pretty big bonus for this spot. So you come inside, and it's a bit of a bigger styled entrance, but you can't get any dinos through, so I don't really see a big issue with that other than down through there. So if you come up here, there's a nice little platform up here where you can either put a cliff platform or put a nice little 2x2 or 3x3 if you can fit it in here, and you can just be living pretty hidden and no one's really going to find you here. But it makes for a pretty good spot. And coming at number 8, this can be found at 91.1 latitude and 35.9 longitude. Here it is on the map. Now this rat hole is definitely a pretty weird one, I'll say that. Now, considering a rat hole being a little small entrance that you would go in, this one is actually up. And what I mean by up is just look at this thing. So you come up here, you really don't see anything. You're just like, oh okay, it just looks like maybe a hidden spot where you can put some cliff platforms, right? No. This is straight up weird. This has been in the game for so long. I've kept this one hidden for a while. I didn't really want to tell anybody. But it's like ARK messed up the terrain here, and you can 100% build stuff on this, like on official. It's really bizarre. Don't know why, but you can put foundations on here. You can practically see through this thing, so if you need to see if there's any people under you, it makes for a really nice little hidden spot. Now, I struggle to jump there, but you can jump over to the other one with pretty much ease once you get to learn it a little better. But there's 2 spots up here for you to really put stuff if you need to. And I recommend not putting cliff platforms because that's going to give away your location. But you can really do whatever you want with this spot. But it's definitely a pretty bizarre one. Coming at number 7, this can be found at 36.7 latitude and 34.7 longitude. Here it is on the map, and this can be found in the middle of the floating island on center. So anyways, this spot is pretty good. However, it also has some downsides of it. Which, to be honest, I don't know how. I've never seen this spot on the center until pretty recently when I just came across it and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of odd. Now, if you can manage to figure out how to build this, it'll make for a great spot. But you're going to have to build on the outside to put some defense, like maybe a big turret wall or something. Now, when you build down, it really doesn't help with the lack of defense that you can really have in here, because, you know, people can just run a dino straight into there. So it's a little tricky, but if you're a solo, maybe on a solo server looking to hide, but still kind of want some base defense, it's a pretty good spot for you. Some little hidden crevices in here. It's an okay rat hole, but I would not recommend it for a bigger tribe as it's pretty difficult to build in. And coming at number 6, this can be found at 72.2 latitude and 25.9 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this rat hole can be found behind this big waterfall, which is down at the very bottom of the map behind the giant waterfall next to the redwoods. If you keep going, there's 3 more little waterfalls basically beyond that, and this is the area where there's this rat hole and actually a pretty good amount of other rat holes. There's some other rat holes out here that are pretty decent, but then you got this one. Now, this can be argued that it's not a rat hole because it doesn't have a small entrance on it, but I claim it as being more of a hidden kind of location, but it was just a pretty good spot to kind of not leave out of the video. So yeah, you guys can argue that if you really want to, but there's a lot of room here to build. You can easily fit a 6x6 in here. Plus you got a lot of water area, so you can store some dinos down here. You could even do some water dino stuff, and people aren't even going to be able to see you beyond the waterfall, so it makes for a pretty good spot. Coming at number 5, this can be found at 39.8 latitude and 28.7 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this can be found in the floating island. The floating island offers more than, I'd probably say, 50 different rat holes, so if you want to honestly just fly around it, you'll find tons of rat holes. They're literally everywhere, especially underneath. There's a lot of rat holes under there too. Now this spot is a little more of a smaller one, but it is insanely hidden. I mean, you cannot see this from the outside at all. You can squish some stuff in here, but it is going to be meant for an unofficial server, as you don't have a lot of room to really just build in here. Now you can put a cliff pad in here and put some stuff down, but it's hard to get some defense on an official server. However, it makes for a pretty good spot. There's a good amount of room in here for maybe a solo or a duo tribe looking to hide, and you really cannot see it from the outside at all. But anyways, let's get on to the next rat hole. Coming at number 4, this can be found at 44.6 latitude and 32.8 longitude. And then here it is on the map. And again, like I said, this can be found on the floating island. Now behind this little waterfall right here, you don't really see much, but behind the waterfall is actually a nice little rat hole. So you basically have to fly up a little bit and come to this spot exactly where I am. And it's hard to see stuff really from any angle, but there's a rat hole here. It's not the biggest, but it's not the smallest. You're going to have to most likely build on the outside, basically exposing the rat hole, so that's a little bit of a downside with this spot, but if you can keep the turrets to a minimum, you can kind of push it back a little farther. It's not a bunch of room. If you're building on a server with smaller structures or smaller like indie forges or something, it's a pretty nice spot to just hide away. Coming at number 3, this can be found at 44.1 latitude and 31.8 longitude, and then here it is on the map. And again, this can be found on the floating island. Now this spot is more of a weird one because you really would not expect anything to be here at all, but there's a nice little hidden ceiling rat hole up here. Now defending it is going to be a little tricky, but if you can get it right without people being able to rocket the heavies that you can put up on here, makes for a pretty good spot. Now you got this front little area, which I would assume is where you're going to be putting your turret wall, and then back in here, it's a nice little crouch area. Goes back through here, and you got a little bit of room to just kind of put some stuff in, especially back in this corner. You can just kind of put a foundation down, put a vault, maybe hide some loot back there, but it's not the flattest, it's not the biggest, but after all, it is a rat hole, so you can't expect much out of these. Coming at number 2, this can be found at 46.5 latitude and 63.3 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this can be found in around jungle's mid area in the river that basically leads throughout the area. Now this spot, you guys should really know, if you play the center a lot, this spot is very common. It's just some nice little ruins that are over here, but the center is pretty much just full of like ruins all over the place, and a lot of these actually do have rat holes. Now this one is a little bit of a different rat hole. Now it's up in here, so I'm just going to show you guys this. You cannot fly through these, which is kind of nice, but I find that also kind of weird. But anyways, that it really helps with defense, meaning that the only way in is through this underwater thing. Now once you get in here, this is not the rat hole, by the way. This is just the outside, which I'd assume you can put some turrets on. And this is the rat hole. Now you come inside the wall, and there's not a bunch of room, at least on this side, but there's a second side that has a ton of room. Now building in here is going to be very, very tricky, but if you can manage to do it, it makes for a good spot, and nobody's going to ever expect there to even be a rat hole in here. Here's the bigger side where you can actually kind of manage to build some stuff in here, but even then it's a little tricky to get things right. But anyways, let's move on to the number 1 spot. And coming at number 1, this can be found at 40.2 latitude and 31.1 longitude, and then here it is on the map. But this can be found on the floating island, and this is to this day still probably one of the most overpowered rat holes on the center. Now by that, I mean it is a literally invisible rat hole. Now from the outside, you really don't see anything. So it's up here in the ceiling, and once you get up here, it doesn't look like much. It just looks like, oh, it's a nice little ledge for you to build on. But no, that's not the rat hole. The rat hole is actually through here. You can straight up walk through the terrain right here. And no, I'm not ghosting or anything, which I'll prove it right here. As you can see, I'm not even in ghost trying to get through. There's actually just nothing here. I mean, it's just an invisible entrance to the spot, which is pretty insane for a rat hole. Now you come inside and then you're greeted with this nice, pretty good size area. Now there's a little spot up in there, but I wasn't able to get in there. And then there's another spot up in here, which I'd assume where your base is going to be going. But if you want to build in here and stay super hidden, I'd recommend not putting anything on the outside, as it would make for probably the most overpowered spot on the game if you can manage to do it. But anyways, that's it for this video. We hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like if you're new and hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.